What's going on, guys? Welcome to Everything Always. My name is Michael Remen, aka Allfires, and as promised, right on time, Marvel Studios dropped a brand new trailer for the Marvels at midnight. Now, we're going to go through this thing with a fine-tooth comb because there are some scenes and frames that if you blinked, you might have missed and actually reveal a ton about the plot. We're also going to talk about what's going on with the villain Dar-Benn, the other bangle that she has. Obviously, Miss Marvel has one, she has the other, how these relate and correspond to what's going on with the Marvel's powers, and of course, the main plot of the film. After we work through a majority of the Easter eggs in the trailer, I'll then issue the lightest of spoiler warnings as we dive into some of the rumors and leaks that we've had for what might be coming at the end of this film and how it sets up the rest of Marvel Phase 5 and the multiverse saga. We're breaking it all down, the latest trailer for the Marvels, but first, if you could grab the subscribe button. We do daily Marvel content at the channel, and that's all we do. Everything from official Easter egg breakdowns, trailers, and reviews, to the occasional industry insider report and everything in between. So if that sort of thing's for you, hit the subscribe button, leave a comment down below. That will automatically enter you to win our ongoing PS5 giveaway. The next one is less than a week away to coincide with the Secret Invasion finale. Again, all you gotta do, be a sub, leave a comment if you want, stick around to the end of the video, we get into all the giveaway stuff again there. Okay, so to start off with, we see that Carol Danvers is out in space, she's called by Nick Fury, and she's isolated. That's kind of what they've said they're doing with this film. It's a big family reconnection story, and admittedly, when Brie Larson talks about the development of Carol Danvers and Captain Marvel, she has said about the character that she sort of became a workaholic. We saw that happening during the snap and the blip when she was trying to take care of every planet across the universe. As she told the Avengers, there's a lot of planets out there who need help, a lot of people, they don't have you guys. She's tried to become that, but when they show you a clipping of Monica Rambeau becoming an astronaut, that's tying up the post-credit scene for WandaVision. We also see her mother, Maria Rambeau. We know that they're never far from her heart, that she's just run from this and really isolated herself in space. And that's what the opening of this trailer really tries to accentuate, especially with that shot of her looking like dead weight for a second in space as she's exiting the spacecraft. Of course, you see her in the very next frame fly off, and we know that she can survive space, even though, as she says, there's no air, but it's trying to really show you just how isolated a character she's become. Now, this is exactly what Nick Fury is calling Carol Danvers out for, whether she knows it or not, when he refers to her as the prodigal child of the Milky Way. Remember, Nick Fury, a guy who has Bible verses on all of his fake tombstones, we just saw that at the end of episode 5 in Secret Invasion. This is no different. He's referring to the prodigal son parable from Luke 15, in which it said that the prodigal son, or in this case the prodigal child, wastes most of their life, but most importantly, through foolishness and rebellion, wastes his precious relationship with his father. Now, obviously, foolishness and rebellious, these are characteristics that apply to Carol Danvers, and we already know that, but the metaphor is the relationship she should have with Monica Rambeau, and the relationship she's gonna have with Miss Marvel when they form a team. Right now, she's isolated. By the end, she should have some character growth and arc and accepting of the team that she's going to be on. That's why you get that quote from Monica towards the end of the trailer that she's not alone, she's not the only person standing between this and the universe, and that's why the name of the film is The Marvels. It's the growth surrounding Carol Danvers being willing to reconnect with people. Now, the next part of the trailer really establishes Dar-Benn as the villain. First of all, she refers to Captain Marvel as the Annihilator. Man, they love giving titles like that to people. Ronan the Accuser. More on Ronan in just a second. But she refers to Captain Marvel as the Annihilator because, remember, at the end of the first film, Carol Danvers goes nuclear on the Kree Supreme Intelligence, and if you're a Kree loyalist and fanatic, as obviously Dar-Benn is, then that would be annihilation to her. That's why she's waged war back on Captain Marvel, and as Carol Danvers tells us during this trailer, she's going after every place they've ever called home. We'll explain exactly how she's doing that, but in the meantime, we see Dar-Benn holding a hammer that's either Ronan the Accuser's hammer that we saw during the Guardians film, or a hammer just like his, letting us know for sure that she's Kree and most likely either a general or in position of power. She's then putting on what we know is the paired bangle to what Miss Marvel already has. We'll call them the Nega Bands for now, but if they choose to call them something else, no worries. And in doing so, seems to set off the entanglement between the three of their light powers. Now, I'm sure that'll get explained more in full during the movie, and I think it'll also explain how Dar-Benn is doing this, but those hexagonal openings that we saw some during the first trailer, we see some during this trailer as well. Those are the connections that Dar-Benn is opening up to planets to quote-unquote go after the planets that Captain Marvel has called home. So the planet that we're seeing here with the water, where she's destroying the ships with the green hillsides, that is the planet that's said to be a musical planet. That's where we see them dancing. That's also where we heard that Captain Marvel might also be married at this point. It might have been a political misunderstanding. Either way, that's Dar-Benn attacking that planet and what it'll look like when she finally attacks Earth through the hexagonal opening that we see at the beginning of the first trailer that was released, and we see during this one as well. So she's going to do, or try to do, to Earth what we see her do to this other musical planet, and that is open up these portals and then start sucking the resources through them, as we see with the water getting pulled through this. Now, it's not made evident exactly how Dar-Benn is able to do this. We have seen hexagonal jump points before, famously made canon through Guardians of the Galaxy and then just adopted through a lot of the space jumps that we've seen now in the MCU. But what I will at least postulate is that you can see there that the familiar purple color that's associated with the band and the color that we see her set off when she attaches the band, that is Dar-Benn, you can see it there in the hexagonal shape. So it makes me wonder if that band isn't giving her the power to be able to open up these portals in the first place, which is what makes her a mega threat and pushes the plot forward. Now, interestingly enough, we know that she's at least going to get to some point in attacking Earth because of the quick scene we see in the trailer where Nick Fury is looking up nervously alongside the rest of the people who work on the sword base. Two things I want to point out here. Number one, they're all dressed in white and black, similar to what Monica Rambeau's outfit, official superhero outfit, is going to look like. So apparently they're drawing one from the other. The second is that we clearly see an alien species that is not Skrull in this shot. Just one, but they're there, meaning that Skrulls are not the only alien species that are officially working with Earth now. Remember, President Ritson knows exactly what Nick Fury is doing with the Saber base, and they're now working with them. You could argue that Nebula was an alien, or maybe even Thor was as well by some definition, and they were in the Avengers, and they sort of worked with S.H.I.E.L.D. and they worked for Earth, but maybe this is a little different considering we're going to be coming directly off Secret Invasion, where an alien species who was living amongst us just tried to invade. And you have to imagine, even though the Saber base is a little different than what they were doing with the Peak base for Sword in the comics, its main purpose was to guard against extraterrestrial threats. So I guess this is just reminding us there's a blurred line between all aliens being enemies and what we're trying to do there, as well as trying to connect with the rest of the universe. I don't know, it just makes me feel a little warm and fuzzy on a Star Trek level that here we are in the MCU and aliens on Earth are becoming more and more common. Speaking of more and more common, Marvel Studios had to famously correct the color of the Statue of Liberty. It was incorrect during Ms. Marvel, given that that took place after Spider-Man No Way Home, and it was established during Spider-Man No Way Home that they were resurfacing the Statue of Liberty, or rather bringing it back to its original bronze color. It was updated in the CGI Ms. Marvel and now appears the correct color here in the Marvel's trailer. Now obviously in the background you can see the spaceship go floating by, and from one angle it looks like there's a ton of tentacles out, which makes me think there's a Flurkin aboard that ship, or maybe it's the same ship where we see all the Flurkins floating for a second suspended in air. Either way, there have been some heavy rumors of Flurkin action going on during the third act of this film. That gag has not gotten old. It was funny during the first Captain Marvel movie. It's been funny in the trailer every time when Miss Marvel laughs, seeing what she thinks is a cat explode tentacles out of its mouth for the first time. I'm for it. I'm all for the Flurkins. Bring as many of them as you want. There was also a Lego set I will mention that shows not only Goose, but a couple of other Flurkins as well, making me think that they're a bigger part of this film, and that's why they worked them into the trailer scene. Now, upon a couple of rewatches, the only thing I caught is you can see a Skrull running blurred in the background with this quick shot of Miss Marvel, but it's kind of hard to tell where this is, whether or not it's on Earth, or what exactly they'll be doing in this film. We've seen very little to do with Skrulls, but as I just mentioned, we did see that alien on Saber, so it's possible in the wake of Secret Invasion that the Skrulls have somehow settled on Earth, or some of them are on Saber. Now this is where I'm going to issue the lightest of spoiler warnings, because I want to talk about the implications of what's going on with Dar-Benn causing incursions because of A, the instability in the multiverse that we already know has either been caused by He Who Remains, or by Loki, or Doctor Strange, or insert your reason here, but as it applies to what's going on with possible ties to Deadpool, the 838, the Illuminati, the multiverse. So if you want to back out now, and as I say, go into the unknown not knowing, now's the perfect time to do so. Otherwise, it's said of one of the post-credit scenes, it's meant to set up the Young Avengers, but the other sends Monica through an incursion that happens at the end of the film. Because of what Dar-Benn is doing with opening up these portals, it causes instability, an incursion happens, Monica ends up going through to a different dimension. As we hear during the trailer, when they slow down Intergalactic by the Beastie Boys, they actually say another dimension, another dimension, another dimension, and actually accentuated during this trailer. That other dimension could be 838, the same Earth we saw during Doctor Strange in the Multiverse of Madness, where Monica would be able to connect with her mother, Maria Rambeau, who is Captain Marvel in that universe. Now, obviously, it's a little ambiguous whether or not Scarlet Witch actually murked the entire Illuminati. People have put forward the theories that Baron Mordo would have survived that attack because he didn't face Wanda. He has the time stone. We know he could have rewinded it. And also that if she truly is Captain Marvel and as powerful as she should be, then Wanda simply crushing her with stone wouldn't have been enough to kill her. Either way, Maria Rambeau is said to be alive in this universe, reforming the Illuminati and eventually the exact same universe 838 that we'll see in the upcoming Deadpool. The reason I think that this is most important, as I explained in a previous video about bringing back the 838 Illuminati, is Marvel Studios only has so much space, so many TV shows and movies before we get to Secret Wars. And if they continue to spread themselves thin the way they did in Marvel Phase 4, going super wide, introducing new characters without explaining where they're going in all of these post-credit scenes, then you're going to end up running the risk of not really caring about the characters that will play a part during Secret Wars. During the original 2015 Secret Wars Jonathan Hickman run, there were so many incursions going on that there were only 2 worlds left, 616 and 1610. It appears as though Marvel Studios is going to look to do the same thing, where we have our 616 continuity that we followed through the Infinity Saga, or Earth 199999, whichever you'd like to refer to it as, and 838, that all the other universes by that point may end up being destroyed, and they will have an opportunity during Captain Marvel's post-credit scene, and then again in Deadpool, to actually get some runway and some ramp canonizing the 838. That way, by the time we actually get to Secret Wars, they've spent time in that universe connecting us with those specific characters, and that's really the only way that they're going to be able to do this and make it interesting, because as I've argued before, if you just open up portals along the multiverse the same way we saw portals at the end of Avengers Endgame, and a million different versions we've never met before and don't care about end up pouring out, well, you run the risk of completely devaluing the end of the multiverse saga. If they take time, like the post-credit scene in Captain Marvel and then again in Deadpool, to revisit the 838, that will have been the 3rd time we've seen another dimension, pun totally intended, canonized in the MCU, and they should continue to do exactly that, especially if they truly do end up stranding Monica Rambeau there. You'll have to imagine that with their newfound connection as a team, that Miss Marvel and Captain Marvel, it's their first order of business to try to connect and get her back, which may lead to eventually them teaming with those that can travel the multiverse, speaking of one specific, in America Chavez. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below, especially with this last part. If you're hyped for this film or not, I actually think this film looks amazing, and at least according to the internal screening, it's one of the best things they've put out yet. Honestly, though, that was said about Thor Love and Thunder too, so maybe I'll hold off on judging it based on the internal screening reviews. Guys, let me know all your thoughts down below quickly. Let's get into the giveaway stuff before I let you go. Okay, we are still giving away PlayStation 5s here at the channel, and the next one happens to be less than a week away to coincide with the finale of Secret Invasion. If you want to be entered to win, all the same rules will always apply for future giveaways. Hit the subscribe button because you need to be a subscriber, then leave a comment down below. Because it's truly random, the more videos you comment on, the better chance you have of winning. All winners will be announced at the end of videos, the same way we're doing here. The best way to keep up with the content has always been to hit the notification bell with all notifications turned on, and as always, if you liked today's video, I'd appreciate it if you'd hit the like button. My name's Michael Roman. You can find me in a couple of places, Instagram and Twitter at IamFires. You can also find me on Spotify, YouTube, Amazon, Apple, iTunes, wherever you listen to original music under the name AllFires. And while I sincerely appreciate you checking my music out, thanks for checking this channel out. Stick around. We'll be posting again real soon.